Yeah. So this week we will cover we will solve some problem related to the content covered for this week. That is some lasers and LEDs and some heterostructures or compound material. So we will cover very like these are like quite quite an like these individual topic is quite depth. It will need independent courses if you want to understand in very deep. But for this course, for we will look into the very bird's eye view of the different things. Like at least you are aware of the keywords, whatever is there, and what are the different uh, properties of each of the uh, of the materials. I will turn on video to say some bandwidth. Okay. So now 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 to for the first question. So basically it talks about the so what has happened. So the lasing, what is the lasing? So if you can consider a, suppose this is a band gap, then here there are different labels are there. Then as you shine a light photon to this, then the electron or holes electron from the conduction band, in here the electrons are there, here the holes are there. So the electrons from the conduction band will recombine with the hole, or it will get absorbed from the due to this photon, if the energy of this photon is larger than the band gap, or uh, then it gets absorbed. And if we assume this like while so if you shine a light, then it will get absorbed. Then there are few process which are uh, there are three types of process. One is your spontaneous emission, spontaneous absorption, and then other process is spontaneous emission, when the photon when the electron is recombined with the hole and a photon is produced, then this is known as the spontaneous emission. And when you are when the so when you have suppose this two level system, so the two level you can consider the energy level of a individual atom, that you can consider it two level system, or you can make a certain kind of impurities, those also can be considered as a two level system. So when you shine a light, then the at the electrons from this lower level will excited to higher level. So this we can say uh, the electron has absorbed the photon, and it can so this photon will interact with the uh, uh, with the your two level system, and it will emit two photons actually. So the this photon multiplication process, this is basically when the your photons, or a packet of light of particular wavelength interact with the two level system, then it emit photons, that photons is not lost completely. So it generate multiple number of photons from this. So this is known as the stimulated emission. So what that the stimulated emission means? So if you if you are constantly supplying the light, constantly supplying the photons, they are generating, they are not lost, they are constantly generating the photons, and they are constantly this photon multiplication is there, that is known as the photo amplification. Basically, in this kind of structures, so what happens is you so this the multiple well quantum structures are used, so that uh, like this kind of structures are used, the quantum confined heterostructures are used, so the all the electrons are confined in here, holes are confined here, and when this electron recombine with the hole, then a photon is produced. This photon, it if the refractive index of the material is such that, suppose this high band gap material, here the refractive index is low, here the reflective index is low, here the refractive index is high, then it will get back reflected. Then it can like the same photon which has been emitted can excite one more electron hole pair, and uh, can generate more photons. So this process will continue until unless this the once the equilibrium is reached, this process will be continued. So this phenomena is known as the stimulated emission. So basically, whatever the photon is generated is again excite the electron hole, excite the atom to generate the electron hole pair while relaxing back. So this detailed treatment of this can be understood by either this Einstein rate equation coefficient. So basically, this Einstein rate equation coefficient deals with, suppose there are two levels of atoms where the density of atoms is n1, here the density of atom is n2. So now what the so uh, as you shine the light, the absorption will take place from here to here, and there will be a relaxation process will also happen. So now the the change of n2 is the population at level 1. So if we cover as the level 1, this as a level 2, n2 is the population of level of electrons at level 1. uh, let's call this n2. N1 is the population of electrons at level 1, n2 is the population of electrons at level 2, or electrons or spin or any quantum phenomena that you can consider. So now we can write this equation. What is the like number of absorption? So uh, from here to here there is a absorption. So we can write this d of n1 by dt is something minus a2 1 n1. Similarly, here the one is incoming photon and other is spontaneous decay is also happening. So in the level 2 we can write the rate equation as dn2 by dt equals to uh, minus this nv, we can write d nu is the density of states. So yeah, so now we can write here also. So if this rate, rate of the rate of decay is the rate of absorption, we can consider a so this A21 is spontaneous absorption. So yeah, Einstein A coefficient, and the second we can write it is so it will be proportional to uh, so the rate at which this is B12 N2 times d nu d2 nu plus, then we need to subtract this rate. So B21 N1 d nu d d1 nu, right? So now if we consider this, so total absorption will be these two coefficient will be equal. Then V12 we can take V21, and if we solve this for equilibrium case, then we can find this the total total population in the excited state is given as the 1 by 1 by this the separation between these two level exponential of minus Eg by 2 kT minus 1. This is the B by A population, B12 by A21. So this is known as the population level. Okay, so this you can and this can be related to some constant will come here. That constant can be obtained by the Planck's radiation law. So it directly relates to the Planck radiation law. So yeah, so yeah, so this B coefficient, these coefficients are stimulated absorption and stimulated emission, and these A coefficients are stimulated absorption. Okay, so yeah, and so the like in the case of stimulated emission, what is happening is as you are supplying the photons, those photons will in turn generate more photons, and once the equilibrium is reached, this loss of photon will directly related will be directly related to the photon or the current being supplied. There is due to this phenomena, this huge amount of light is produced. Okay, that is the stimulated emission. Just wait, I lost the connection. Yeah, sorry, I got disconnected. So yeah, this so now yeah, so now this, because of this continuous interaction of the uh, of the photon produced with the existing two level system, this stimulated emission take place. So uh, this B12 and B12 is the stimulated absorption, and B21 is the stimulated emission. A21 is the spontaneous emission, spontaneous absorption, and A12 is uh, spontaneous absorption. Okay, so the first question talks about the Einstein coefficient for the stimulated emission is denoted by B21. So Einstein B coefficient from level 2 to level 1. This is 2, this is 1. So this is there. Okay. So is there any doubt up to now? Okay. So let's move to next problem. So choose correct rate equation for the spontaneous emission process. So the in case of like spontaneous emission, the difference between spontaneous emission and the stimulated emission is that the rate of absorption depends only at the source rate. Okay, so if we are consider this as a n2, then the rate of change of population at level 2 is directly proportional to number of electrons or atoms and at that energy level. So so the dn2 by dt is some constant type n2. So that constant is spontaneous emission constant, which is this A21. So if we go to this, so this A21, the positive will not come, otherwise the rate will, so if the positive sign is there, then the rate will increase indefinitely. So this positive, the rate equation, the sign will be negative only, then only it follows that exponential decaying exponential kind of absorption equation. So this the rate is given by dn2 by dt equals to minus a21 times n2. Yeah. So the the so the relation between Einstein A and B coefficient is given by, so this was given by the this was given by under equilibrium. You can write the population. So you can write the population as, so the equilibrium population was given as so B by A, B12 by A21, uh, B12 by A21 is given by 1 upon 1 plus exponential of h nu by kt minus 1. So if we compare this to the Max Planck Planck black body radiation law, then we can find the relation. This term is actually given by the Planck black body radiation law, and this is 8 pi h nu cube by c cube. So this you can write the A21 as I think this will come A21 by B21 or B12. So this you can write A21 equals to 8 pi h nu cube by c cube B21. So this constant terms comes from the oscillator strength in the Black body radiation law, or if you go in the quantum mechanics, then you can get this by perturbation theory also. You can get exact this same representation by solving the perturbation expression actually. Yeah. If you consider the first order perturbation, then you can get this Einstein series A and B coefficient. Uh, yeah. So the correct answer is first one. A21 is 8 pi h nu cube by c cube B21. So is there any doubt up to now? Okay. So let's move to next problem. Given below are the three statements. It is difficult to build a blue laser compared to red laser. Spontaneous emission become stronger with the decreasing wavelength. Uh, Spontaneous emission become weaker with the decreasing wavelength. So yeah, so as we can see this uh, the normal spectra of any sun radiation is like this. It has tail actually. So this now if you so blue laser, so basically in case of blue laser wavelength is less, so lambda is blue is less than the lambda of green. Okay, so the energy for blue is higher than energy for green. So what happens is, suppose you are constructing a laser with some heterostructure material you made, then there is a two level system. You can consider a heterostructure like this. So you can consider a heterostructure like this, then this can form the two level system, not ideally, but in some certain scenario, if you do the proper quantum confinement, then this level will become discrete only on our energy state, then that you can consider as a two level system. Okay, so now what happens is, now this the energy of this green is uh, energy of blue is greater than energy of green. So what happens is, the total number of total number of carrier at a particular level is given by this Fermi Dirac tail. So this is the total concentration of the particular type of carrier is given by superposing two phenomena. One is your Fermi Dirac distribution. So one is your Fermi Dirac distribution, and other is the density of state. So for 3D case, density of state goes as a square root of E, and this goes as the 1 upon 1 upon 1 plus exponential of Eg minus Ef E minus Ef by kT. So this is the Fermi Dirac distribution. If you multiply these two, so to find the total number of atoms at particular level, then you will if you multiply this, then you will reach this kind of tails. Okay, so the uh, the the absorption, so the total number of electrons is higher here. So uh, the uh, the so to get the higher excitation, uh, so to so as you decrease the wavelength and increase the energy, so this the number of electrons at higher energy levels are low. So that means your the electron at higher level will recombine with the phonons, or they lose energy while and relax back. So what happens is the higher level, so the electron at the lower wavelength or higher energy level will radiate non-recombinably. So ideal radiation, what you want is the uh, uh, radiation based uh, radiative recombination. But what happens is at the higher energy level, all the non radiative process will start become significant actually. So that impaired your spontaneous emission, uh, that weaken out the spontaneous emission. Okay. So yeah, so that compared to so that's why it's difficult to build a laser with lower wavelength or higher energy level compared to the sources with lower energy level and uh, higher wavelength. So this so the correct answer is the yeah, so the correct answer is 3. The S1, S2 are the correct explanation, and S3 here, this will be S3 is the correct explanation of S1. Is there any doubt in this? Yeah, yeah. So this is very straightforward question. Next, laser stand for. So this is light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. So that is acronym is LA, laser amplification by stimulated SER. Okay. So stimulated emission of radiation. So that is the full form of laser. So the correct answer is light amplification by stimulated emission radiation. Which of the following is true with respect to the LEDs? So uh, they are so what happens is the in case of LED, what you do, so so as you might must have the process to so the thing is so you can get emission by if you take a large piece of semiconductor. But what happens is the your the thing is so if you apply any voltage to the electric field, so the happen what happens is there is a electric field, it exists in this. So due to this electric field, the electrons and hole will get separated very easily. They are not there at a position actually. So with the normal piece of semiconductor, let's say it's a direct band gate semiconductor, if you apply the voltage just like that, then you will observe very small radiation or not very efficient radiation. The thing is, this happens because the electron and holes are not localized. So to localize the electrons and holes, what does localize the electrons and holes is the potential. Okay, so what you can do, so people invented in 1980s that if you take two dissimilar materials, suppose this one side is gallium arsenide. As you know, gallium arsenide is direct band gap semiconductor. And if you grow a layer of some composition, if you replace some atom of arsenic with some aluminum or this, then you can make Al X Ga 1 X 1 minus X As. So this you make aluminum gallium arsenide that has different refractive index N and uh, different different uh, electron affinity. So electron affinity. So if you make sandwich of this kind of structure, if you make sandwich of this kind of structure, suppose uh, L gas gallium arsenide and then AlGs. If you make this kind of structure, if you draw the band diagram, then it will look like this. So L gap, if you dope it the gallium arsenide with some composition of aluminum, so these are like these are the tertiary materials. So to get so this gallium arsenide is binary material. So what does that binary material mean? That two atoms are involved. So similarly, silicon or carbon or diamond, silicon or diamond, these are single atom kind of crystal. But this is binary crystal. Tertiary and quaternary also you can produce by changing the composition. So what is the beauty of this 3,5 material? So this is group 3 element. When mixed with 5 element, it shows some exciting kind of properties. For example, this gallium arsenide is a direct band gap material. So even if you can like if you change this aluminum composition in the gallium arsenide, then you can choose tune this band gap. So you can tune this band gap, then you can have the LED or any other device for different region of operation. So now what happens is, so to make the LED, we need to keep the electron and hole pair uh, uh, with uh, electron and hole in the confined space. So if we draw the band diagram of this, then it will look like this. So this is the potential barrier. So if we inject electron by putting some voltage or this, we can inject electron into this belt, electron, and we can inject holes into this belt. So now since this the other side the material is not same, then this electrons and holes are confined due to this potential barrier. So there is some kind of confinement is there. So now there is higher probability of electron to find in the this notch region. So if you consider this as a gallium arsenide, so this is a gallium arsenide and this is your aluminum gallium arsenide, AlX Ga 1 minus X S arsenic. Okay. So now if you consider this kind of material, so the electrons and holes are confined within a region. So now they can take part in the radiative recombination process. And so this so now if you pump the electron into this hole into this, then this spontaneous emission will happen. So photon will get spontaneously emitted. So the thing is, so now if this kind of thing is there, so if there are higher number of levels, then this electron, in the case of the two types of light generation devices are there. So light generation device, one is LED, other is laser. So we saw this light amplification by stimulated emission. So what happens is, in case of LED, only spontaneous emission is dominant. this stimulated emission is not that high or that dominant, which drive the which further increase the stimulated emission rate. So in this LED, the electron recombines with the hole through the spontaneous decay only. So this spontaneous decay happens because you injected higher number of electrons, and this is not the equilibrium condition, and the electron will release a photons and then excite to like settle to ground state. Okay, so until unless that photon is getting reabsorbed, there will be there will not be any stimulated emission possible. Okay, so if we somehow we manage to again interacting that uh, the generated photon with the lattice, then we can get the uh, stimulated emission. Okay, so in LED only spontaneous emission are there, and this emission is governed by this Maxman Boltzmann statistic. uh, Maxman Boltzmann statistics. So that rate, so the 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 light generated by this is not coherent. What does the coherence means? the the photons whichever been admitted, so each and every photon has a definite phase relationship with the, like each outgoing photon has a definite phase relationship that does not vary with the space uh, with the space or time. So these two types of coherence are there, which is temporal coherence. So if you are observing at some point, if the phase is a phase difference between two photons emitted is same, then we can say this is the temporal coherence. If on the different space the phase is constant, then we can say this is the spatial coherence. So the LEDs, this emission is spontaneous, so they does not have any kind of coherence actually. So they are basically incoherent source. So the which of the following statements is true with respect to LEDs? They are incoherent source. They are coherent source. This is wrong. The photon generation is dominated by the stimulated emission. This is wrong. Photon generated is dominated by the spontaneous emission. This is correct. They are polychromatic source. So basically in this there can be different level existing. So all those energy which lie in this band will get excited and can relax back to the different wavelength. So they are basically the polychromatic sources of light. Is there any confusion up to now, or is it clear? Okay. So, is it clear now? The things are not ambiguous, right? Okay. So, yeah. So this, since you can get emission from different levels, then these are not the phase coherence are not there. So you can say the LEDs are incoherent source of light. So these are incoherent. Laser are the coherent source. So the what does the coherence means? The each and every photon produced has a definite phase relationship with the other photons actually. So yeah. So let's move to next problem. Uh, Consider the IV characteristics of the various diodes made up of different material as shown in figure below. So this is the silicon, this is germanium, this is silicon, gallium arsenide, gallium arsenic phosphide, gallium indium nitride. Okay. So given below are the three statement about the bulk material. Given below are three statement about LEDs made for silicon and germanium are efficient as their thresholds are less. So uh, this the efficiency does not mean any thing about the threshold. So basically this does not mean that the low voltage threshold will generate the efficient light. The the efficiency lies behind this. So this band overlap should be there. So in case of indirect material for silicon and germanium, this band's minima, the conduction band minima and valence band maxima are not overlap. So that's why this photon emission from these is difficult. So this the so the this correct this answer is not correct. S2, the statement 2, silicon and germanium diode cannot emit light. No, this is wrong statement. They emit light. Just wait. So, uh, so silicon germanium diode cannot emit light. So the light emission does take place, but it's very inefficient. You can assume that it is completely dark even if you flow the current to the silicon or germanium diode, because these are direct band gap material. This direct band to band or radiative generation is very difficult, or very the efficiency is quite low. So the first answer is wrong. S2 and SG diode cannot emit light. So if we go by the option, so this, although they can emit light, you can assume that those that don't emit light in the particular wavelength region which we want. So this S2 is also correct. Uh, and they are indirect band gap material. So this is the correct explanation for low efficiency of light emission. So the statement S2 and S3 are 3. S3 is the correct explanation of S2. So this is the correct answer. So let's move to next problem. Choose the correct statement with respect to the frequency light emitted by the diode. Okay, so this the separation between this band gap is known as the h bar omega. Omega you can write h bar c by lambda. So or you can write h bar uh, so omega uh, it's like c by lambda is so you can write 2 pi times nu, that is a function of nu. So the gallium arsenide is slowest bending material, so it will have least energy level difference, or the frequency will be small compared to the other material. So gallium arsenide has frequency VGAS as the lowest. Similarly, gallium arsenide phosphide or in gallium indium nitride, those come into the picture. So the correct answer will be the second one. So the voltage of L gas, no, nu of L gas uh, is less than the nu of the gallium arsenic phosphide and the lesser compared to the gallium nitride. So is there any doubt up to now? Okay. So now consider the band gap composition graph of 3,5 semiconductor is shown in figure below. So in the y-axis this is the energy, and in the x-axis this is the lattice constant. Okay. So basically, uh, so ideally you want to make the heterostructures actually. So what they use a epitaxial process. What does the epitaxy means? So if the lattice constant of the surface, so let's say here are the atoms. So if the lattice constant of the target layer which you are trying to deposit, if those lattice constant matches, then you can say you can grow this layer very freely on the top of this bottom green color substrate. So this film will get stressed or this based on this lattice constant. Okay, so based on the lattice constant of the substrate material, you will came to know that whether the growth will happen or not. You can clearly tell whether the growth will happen or not. And you can an other way is so this if the two dissimilar materials are there which has different dielectric constant or uh, different resonance point, then this different dielectric constant has a different value of temperature coefficient. Okay, so that will make this process quite significantly challenging. Yeah. So this is the band diagram of the 3,5 compound energy versus lattice constant diagram. So now the question is asked: a graduate student want to fabricate the lattice match LED emitting at the near IR wavelength 8 centimeter nanometer, referring to the data given in the figure, which correspond to your suggest him or his personal uh, his will suggest you which compound will suggest him or he to choose. So the uh, the lambda which we want is 870 nanometer. So we can calculate the Eg. So Eg will be equal to 1.24 divided by 0.879. So now if you increase 10, so it will be around 1200 by 79. So the answer will be 120079. So now a graduate student want to fabricate the lattice match LED emitting at the near IR wavelength frequency, referring to the data given in this figure, which compound you suggest him or her to choose. Okay, so basically the option which we have provided. So let's say aluminum nitride and indium nitride some composition. So where is the aluminum indium nitride? Aluminum indium phosphide. This is here, and so this is aluminum indium nitride. Now, uh, yeah. So now the we need to choose the material such that there is a possibility of direct band gap carrier movement. otherwise it will work with very poorly LED kind of. So yeah, so which compound will suggest to him further to choose. uh, so since he was opting for LED, he can choose normal Japan visa. Okay. So this is the that thing. Oh yeah. So now this is the same follow up of the previous question. So another graduate student want to fabricate lattice match green LED existing at the wavelength of 532 nanometer, referring to the data given in the figure. Which compound will solve the him or her to choose? So so now after the grade student the this is lattice mesh LED. Okay, so now now wavelength is 532 in the figure, uh, which will correspond your suggested the minor. Okay, so the direct band gap semiconductor, uh, gallium arsenide is the direct band gap semiconductor. So yeah, so now if we take Einstein AB coefficient from the Max Planck law of black body radiation, then we reach out to this conclusion. So yeah, so no matter how much you can increase the density of states and those things, but ultimately your sensitivity is remains same. And here we are like we have reported also the zero point 0.7 nanotesla per square root hertz sensitivity we have achieved. zero point nanotesla per square root of hertz temperature we have achieved. And yeah, so this is the last problem. Any doubt up to here? Okay, so let's move to uh, next problem. So yeah, so how do you define the internal quantum gain, internal quantum efficiency? Yeah, so now we can take the how do you find define the internal quantum efficiency IQE, external quantum efficiency. So basically internal quantum efficiency define. So there are two terms: internal quantum efficiency, one is external quantum efficiency. Okay, so now what happens is uh, so the suppose this is the chip. So let's say this is the chip. So here suppose the diamond is there. So the problem with is us is, So this this chip is getting destroyed in each run. Okay. So then so we have so we can so now if you shine a light, so if you shine a light onto a photodiode, this has somewhere connected, then we will start behaving as a photodiode. Although this is for excitation, this is the yeah, so this is the photon. Yeah, so this is the direct connection. Okay. So now so referring to the referring to the structure A, which of the following statements are correct statement? So the band gap of gallium arsenide is larger than the band gap of aluminum arsenide. So this is the correct structure. The gallium arsenide is sandwiched between the aluminum gallium arsenide, and the second answer is wrong because the band of gallium arsenide gallium arsenide band is energy is lesser compared to the RF RF module. So now what will happen? So the band gap, the referring to the student A, which of the following statements are correct? The band gap of gallium arsenide is larger than the band gap of aluminum gallium silicon. Okay, so this is so the it's not always larger. It can be tuned actually. So it's not always larger, but can be tuned actually. So this is the wrong answer. The band gap of gallium arsenide is smaller than the band gap of gallium arsenide. So this is the correct answer. Band gap of gallium arsenide is equal to the band gap of aluminum gallium arsenide. That can also be equal. Refractive index of gallium arsenide is higher than that of L gas. So this is also true. Yeah. So refractive index is of gallium arsenide is equivalent to that of aluminum gallium arsenide. So refractive index of GAS is highly higher than the this. So yeah, is there any doubt up to now? Okay. Yeah. So uh, now what happens is, so this band gap is smaller. So that means the electrons will be confined here, holes will be confined here. So this is the band gap of aluminum gallium arsenide, and this is the band gap of gallium arsenide, and our refractive index is inversely proportional to the band gap, Eg. So now what will happen? The this central layer, the most of the electron will be confined because from the side walls, if the electrons are if the photons are not at the uh, not larger than the total internal reflection, then they will leak out to the ambient. Actually, that will be the loss of power actually. So this two side will keep the electrons and holes are confined within this region, and the photons are confined by the refractive index. Suppose this kind of structures you are there. So this is aluminum gallium arsenide. This is also L gas, and this is gallium arsenide. So now since this is a direct material, so what happens is uh, your if you so this the electron will be confined to this region, and they will generate the photon that will bounce forth and back like this. So those photons are taking part in again this reaction on kind of, then we can see this is the case of stimulated emission. And what is the problem with other circuit? Actually, this central sandwich layer does have larger band gap, means it has lower reflective index, n will be lower. So if the n will be lower, means the confinement will not be proper, not be proper. So now the confinement is not proper, then then this structure won't be any helpful for laser. Okay. Third level is in the third part, the label diagram is just the bulk piece of semiconductor paper, paper level piece of semiconductor paper, label diagram. Okay. So this if we yeah, let's just move to question. In which structure you will prefer for fabricating gallium arsenide laser? Which structure will you prefer for fabricating a gallium arsenide laser, and why? So this the uh, gallium arsenide. This structure A we will prefer because the confinement electrons and photons confinement both the electrons and photons. So the correct answer will be structure A, as it confined both electrons and holes and photons. So basically, since this is so the gallium arsenide, the refractive index is inversely proportional to inversely proportional to band gap. So if the band gap reduces, or any other way your light is lost, then you will have lesser efficiency actually. So the correct answer will be the first one. Let's look at some other options also. The structure of B, as it confirms both electron and photon being in a double heterostructure level. So that may be idea that can be pursued. Student C is easy to fabricate. Student has C has its very student B or student C. Student C will have so the double heterostructures of B, it confirms both the electrons and photons. Being a double heterostructure surrounded by double heterostructures, so a structure of B confine both electrons and photons. No, this is wrong actually. The electrons and photons, neither of the two is confined. Structure C, as it is easy to fabricate, although it is easy to fabricate, but it does not solve our purpose. So there won't be any efficient light emission will take place from here. So this is wrong. Structure A and B are A and B, as they confine both electrons and holes, electrons and photons during double heterostructures. All structures as they consider gallium arsenide. So this is also not true. This is also not true, because if you don't put the this heterostructures kind of thing, then you can't monitor the opponent. So this the correct answer for this will be student A, as it confirm both the electrons and photons. Uh, Structure A, as it confine both electrons and photons, being a double structure. So the correct answer is uh, figure 1. Yeah. So this was the last problem for today's session. We have a few more minutes or half an hour remaining. So if you have any other doubts, then you can ask. Thank you so much for listening this session, and it was really I feel very great about like teaching or helping you out. I think we will see sometime like next in some courses. Okay, so if there is any other doubt based on this the content which I have covered or sir has covered in the class, you can ask. I will wait for some time for your query. So if you want to leave, yeah. Sir, any tips for the final exam? Like final exam will be like kind of similar to your assignment, so they won't ask any different compared to the regular you are going. You will not be, you just keep your basic strong. I think then you will be able to manage very easily. Also, the questions will be kind of gate structure, gate exam. Yeah, kind of gate exam is can be happen, but there will be like mostly it will be answer type, like the gate exam, like now the pattern is like all the type of questions are asked, so mostly it will be the gate type. Few question here and there may be different, like some will be different from the league, but overall they will be similar to gate pattern now. So how many questions would be there in the final? How many would be there number wise? That I am not sure. I think I need to confirm with the sir, because paper we are not I think allowed to share the paper, or we don't even have access of the paper. So normally normally you can expect, I think, twice the length of your homework assignment around. So 20 or 30 questions if the questions are small length kind of, or 10 or 15 questions. Okay, sir, this is my doubt regarding this the question 9 for 10, where you said a particular wavelength. Okay. Ask what interval would be required for an LED. This one. This one. Okay. Sir, in this case, like this question, it has been written like for a LED in near IR region for lambda 870 nanometer. Can't we directly go to the right side to the figure and check 870? And when we scroll down, three things come either indium phosphide, gallium indium phosphide, and gallium arsenide. But since it's called near IR, gallium indium phosphide and indium phosphide has a gray structure which falls in only IR region at 870 nanometer. So can't we directly choose that in near infrared we are only left with gallium arsenide? Near infrared, we can only choose with the gallium arsenide. Okay. So no, no. So basically the gallium arsenide is so this is the indium phosphide, right? And here is the uh, so here is the so this is your corresponds to 900 wavelength. This is like being passed 870. 870, yeah. Between 850 and 900. So that way I was saying it's a pretty short, because otherwise how come EG could be related to that thing with lambda here, because they are all corresponding to each other, the EG, lambda, all that is one. Just wait. So, so yeah. So basically, sorry. Can you repeat the question actually? Actually, like in the question it's given LED in the near IR region, and lambda is indicated in lambda is given. And then these the few Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay, just wait. So, uh, just yeah. So, the band gap at this is near IR referring to the data which you suggest. So, basically 870 is how much band gap? So, 1.24 divided by uh, 0.87, so you can count this as a 1.2 divided by zero point 0.9, so it will be 3 4, it will be around 1.3 around band gap. 1.4 only, right? So so this is around here, it will fall, right? Yeah, so you are saying about that like which composition should we choose, this point or this point? Okay, right. So this boundary, if you see, so the this boundary, if you see here, the actually the lattice constant of the lattice constant of your so it will be did I give the correct answer? Just wait. Okay, gallium indium phosphide, aluminum indium phosphide. So, you can choose. So the thing is, just referring to the data given in the figure, which compound you suggest to her. Okay. Yes. So, yeah. So actually, so the thing is, so in this basically, so the aluminum indium phosphide. So basically, I'll tell you why it's easy. So this curve has larger slope, so it has a higher slope. So that, what does that mean, higher slope? So in that, basically, if you change the composition, then your your like the strain or lattice constant will be near around easily compared to the one which has very flat line kind. So the thing is, this the difference between the indium phosphide at this line, the uh, The lattice constant difference is huge actually.
But sir, we are not drawing the layers here, na?
No,
The
no.
single LED, single material LED is asked for a particular wavelength.
Okay. Hmm.
And
No, no.
gallium arsenide already is there. We have already grown already the gallium arsenide. So three, four compound semiconductor. So
Uh,
data is given only lambda.
uh, oh,
And near infrared region and material is asked for the LED.
okay, just wait.
So similar question is for 10th.
Mhm.
10th is also for green LED.
Okay, just wait.
For lambda I think 550 or something.
Uh,
532 nanometer.
uh,
Similar question but here it's green LED. But in the graph we can see over the green LED at 532 nanometer.
uh, uh, so another lambda equals to 532 nanometer.
538 nanometer. And
530, 532, right?
I
And
think if we can go to graph sir, again the graph.
hmm. So this is 532. Oh,
532 you see that already green color portion is there.
here.
532.
Huh.
There also we get a only option of which compound I will see. Gallium indium phosphide is again on the left side
Huh.
and uh, aluminum gallium indium phosphide is in the yellow region with the lattice match to gallium arsenide. So how
Huh.
we pick the material? Again here gallium arsenide maybe because the line below from the gallium arsenide at lattice constant 5.64 passes through that green region. So is the answer for 10th is also gallium arsenide?
Just wait. Uh, mm,
Gallium indium aluminum gallium indium phosphide is the answer.
uh, एक so basically so this composition the green region so the aluminum gallium indium phosphide na so the indium phosphide is here gallium indium phosphide is this one and here in this region you need to select basically. Okay,
Yes, yes. So
so
basically, I am asking the selection criteria because energy, Eg, lambda, they correspond to each other.
mhm.
So since we are not going crossover for the like laser, we are not making heterogeneous junctions here. So
Oh,
it's basically clearly third, fifth group compounds only. So
oh.
how to go for that?
I think you are correct. Maybe, uh, yeah, for ninth, I think the gallium arsenide will be the correct answer. So I think I have done something wrong.
No, sir, you have given gallium arsenide only, but
Okay.
I was not able to understand the logic how to go for gallium arsenide. Here I can still make out because gallium arsenide is far away from the IR region, the gray region.
So,
Both other compounds are falling for the gray regions,
huh,
means in the total IR region. But
mhm,
in the question it fall near IR region, so we
mhm,
can go for the gallium arsenide. Here we can demark.
mm,
But for the 10th question, where is its green LED at
uh-huh,
532 nanometer?
mhm.
So there is no clear compound is coming. All are lying in the boundaries.
Okay.
So how to select here?
So basically, this region 532 green, it will come out like no different. So no single compound will come na. So at this wavelength, the no single compound will be there. So you can choose the different different composition of this. So basically, you draw a horizontal line and within the boundaries you can choose the combination actually.
So
So
now the options of this answer question 10.
हाँ
So
so
now you please, if you can elaborate how to select the material in this question, because all are lying at the boundary.
um,
But the answer is this one: aluminium, gallium, indium phosphide,
हाँ
lattice matched gallium arsenide. But with the arrow, it's shown in the yellow region. But in the question is asked for the green region.
हाँ so basically So this the dashed line is na, basically that is the lattice constant of a gallium arsenide. So you need to choose the layer which lattice constant lies closer to the gallium arsenide region. Okay, so you need,
Okay.
so this within this side boundary is complete gallium indium phosphide. This right side line is like is the total indium phosphide this aluminum indium phosphide line is there right side. Okay, so in between this, so basically you need to match the lattice lattice of the substrate, so that will come at that will come near to this composition actually.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so whatever your substrate lattice constant is there, if you are moving far away from that, then it will not be lattice match. That strain will be there, and you won't be able to grow the like good quality layer actually. So you won't get any emission possible actually.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Is that
Now more clarity is there, sir. Thank you, sir.
yeah, fine, yeah. Okay, so is there any other doubt?
Not from my side, sir.
Okay, okay, thank you. Okay, yeah, then thank you so much for listening this session. Is any other person has any other doubt? Okay, fine. Okay, yeah. So, for any doubt related to exam, I think you can post to the forum, and you will get answer within 1 2 days. So, all the best for your exam. Thank you so much for listening this session. Uh, it's my pleasure to get this live interaction. Even my learning got improved in this during the interaction with you guys. So thank you so much, and hopefully we will meet next some session. I think you have learned something like some valuable information from these sessions. Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you so much. Bye. Have a nice time. All the best for your exams.